Well, welcome back to the Know Your Numbers podcast. This is your host, Chris McCormick, and today's guest is Mills Bender. Mills is also in the financial space. She is the founder and owner of Mills Knows Bills. She comes out with great content on Instagram and just helps people gain control of their financial life. So Mills, welcome to the show. If you don't mind just giving a little introduction about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, thank you for having me on your podcast. It's an honor. I always love talking about money and geeking out with fellow finance nerds. So that's always fun.
Yep.
But for those of you that don't know me, I'm Mills Bender. I'm a financial coach. We actually partner with our clients for 90 days. So typically we work with variable income earners, AKA entrepreneurs or salespeople, and we show them how to stop living paycheck to paycheck, pay off debt twice as fast, and get on track to reach their financial goals, all within our 90-day Master Your Money program.
Wow.
So that way they have financial clarity and they can do what they love, which is their business.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's I see that and I'm drawn to it. And it's funny because we serve similar markets, but do different things. But at the core of it, it is money management, and which
100%.
Also, as I'm sure you can talk about, is more habits than anything. So I'd love to hear your take on what the biggest adjustments that some people need to make when it comes to money, and some of the greatest success stories that you've seen come through.
Sure. I mean, so two key things that actually have nothing to do with money, but have huge impacts on money is perspective and mindset. Okay. So I kind of view money mindset as the ability to level the ground before you start building your financial foundation. And it's just all on how you perceive things. I can't afford this. I don't have that as a priority right now. Right.
Wow.
Understanding why you make certain financial decisions, how you get in your own way, not letting ignorance be your excuse anymore. Right. There's so many different layers to money mindset, but it really boils down to how you perceive your financial situation and how you want to move forward to get out of it. The second thing that I talk about a lot is budgeting. Right. I'm sure you have clients that are very similar to this, Chris, where they hear the word budget and they cringe.
Yep.
Right. I'll be honest. I like budgeting because it comes with an Excel spreadsheet. But other than that, I'll be honest, budgeting in and of itself is not glamorous, but the results of budgeting are. Right? No longer living paycheck to paycheck, being able to take that dream vacation, being able to be debt free, put my kid through college, retire at 45 rather than 65, right? Like those are the results that are glamorous. We just happen to use budgeting as the foundation of all things money. Right. So you got to get your money mindset level so you can build that foundation of budgeting and actually start putting your money to use. None of my clients love budgeting. None of them do.
Right.
But after going through the program, they actually understand the importance of budgeting because it allows them to get financial freedom and reach what's important to them. So I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. And I'm a big proponent. I don't necessarily say budget because like you said, that comes with a negative connotation, but even just like a financial plan and the fact of like mapping out what you want to spend on and where your priorities are.
Absolutely.
Speaks volumes and goes
100%. Yeah. I mean, I agree. You hit the nail on the head. I always tell my clients that budgeting is a monetary reflection of your priorities, right? Like what's important to you, Chris, might not be important to me, or vice versa. Right. And that's the whole point. Budgets are supposed to fit your lifestyle rather than you fit them. Of course, we do need to put some parameters sometimes and reel ourselves in, but all in all, it's not a one size fits all.
Amen. Yeah, that's so good. And now, can you take us through a little bit about your financial journey? Because I think I saw one of your videos recently was like you had $1 in the bank account 7 years ago, maybe. And
yes, you're not wrong with that.
Now you got 6-figure net worth. So we'd love to, see what it's been like over those past 7 years.
Sure. So I started college and like many other college students, thought I knew everything. I checked my bank account about 6 weeks into my freshman year because I wanted to grab dinner with friends. And I wanted to know what I could afford at dinner that night before actually going to dinner so I could pick off the menu accordingly. Right. So I checked my bank account, saw that I had $1.50 which was surprising and scary and shameful, nerve-wracking, all of the negative emotions, right? And I realized I couldn't afford anything at dinner that night. So I didn't go, which was also disappointing. But that really was my come to Jesus moment of, you got to put your big girl pants on. You got to stop letting ignorance be your excuse, and you have to start learning this information. So the following semester, I was studying business and I had to take an intro to finance class. I just so happened to have that class the next semester. And I found that it was money and math combined. I've always loved math. And I thought, well, this is kind of cool. Why not just use my college experience to learn a skill set rather than something for a career? I didn't think I was going to pursue finance in any way, but I knew I was going to have to deal with money for the rest of my life. So that's what I did. I changed my major to finance. I specifically focused on personal finance. I dabbled in a lot of different industries, including, internships and electives and all that, because I really wanted to make sure I had a holistic perspective on money management. Fast forward to the end of my college career, I got married after graduation. And when we got married, our combined net worth was negative 30,000. So for those of you that don't know what net worth is, it's everything you own minus everything you owe. So having a negative net worth meant that we owed more than we owned. We had more debt than we had assets. And that really was, not the best feeling in the world, but at least we were starting to make money, which was nice. We weren't poor college students anymore. And then over the past few years, we've just implemented consistency in our finances. We've set and stuck to budgets. We've put our payments on auto pay. We've paid down our debt much faster because we did the debt stacking method. We put money directly into investments and savings. We were consistent. It took time, but now, net worth fluctuates based off of the stock market and all of that as well. But now we're well into the 300,000 positive net worth. And it's insane. We've grown a ton over the past few years simply because we did a lot of baby steps along the way. It wasn't like we came into this lump sum. We worked for it. But it was possible.
That's so awesome and admirable, and I think encouraging to all the listeners out there, because we find that a lot of people are starting from ground zero or negative, and it can be daunting. And so to hear a success story like yours is truly remarkable. And 6 figures in 3 years or less is a worthwhile goal. And sometimes people think that's very far off. So man, that's awesome. That's awesome. And do you use that as like a personal testimony as to how your system works? Is that basically what you're
I do. Do. I think talking about my story so openly, it also shows people that I'm human, right? Like I didn't come out of life knowing everything about money. I've worked hard for it. In fact, there were many times along the way that I doubted that I was smart enough to get a degree in finance, but it's just a matter of putting yourself through it and doing the work. It's not going to be easy by any means, but taking even little steps in the right direction you'll be far better off in the future than if you didn't make any steps at all. And one thing I would definitely say is I didn't wait for perfection either, right? Like I figured it out as I went along. Personal finances, my business finances, all of it. You take steps and then you get to figure out what works, what doesn't work, but taking action is better than sitting still waiting for perfection.
Wow. Amen. That's so good. Taking action is better than sitting still and waiting for perfection. That's a value bomb. We'll take that and write it down. But I'm curious, Mills, as to like for somebody that didn't have the money background, finance background, I think that's something that gets in the way of a lot of people when it comes to money, is like, oh, I don't know it, so might as well not try. Like, what has helped you the most? Was it the college courses, or is it self-education? Is it podcasts? What's been your go-to?
So My husband and I have this motto of anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Hmm.
And that's definitely how I perceive a lot of things,
Right.
money included. So yeah, I learned a lot from my college classes, but I learned more by applying what I learned
Hmm.
in the college classes and the internships, right? So I'm a heavy reader. I read a lot of books. I surround myself with people who are far smarter than I am
Yep.
when it comes to money. And I just sit there and I listen and I soak it up as much as I possibly can. But the most important thing is starting to implement it.
Hmm.
When I first learned about a budget in college, I didn't just say, oh, yeah, that's a cool concept. I actually started to implement it right then and there.
Wow.
It was ugly.
Yeah.
It was not pretty. It was, not implemented well at all.
Hmm.
But along the way, I've fine-tuned the process, figured out better ways to be efficient with my money and all of that. So for me, it doesn't matter how you learn about money management. I think learning about it, that should be step one, but
Yeah.
step two should be actually starting to implement what you learn,
Hmm.
even if it's not 100% what that person talks about.
Right. Amen. And I think the same goes for business, investing,
Yeah.
whatever you're doing. Like it takes, like, yes, go and get as much information as you can, but at some point you got to take that next step and start implementing it and taking the action, because that's how you learn, and that's
Yeah.
where the
You
value
learn
is.
a lot more that way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because you're gonna
You
make
get to
mistakes too.
right,
Yeah.
right. And if you're going to make mistakes anyway, you might as well make the mistakes now
Yep.
and figure out how to fine tune it. So you're in a better position a year from today.
Yeah. That's awesome. Now, Mills, do you have a team? Is it you and your husband that works on Mills Knows Bills, or is it just you and your clients one-on-one kind of thing?
So it was me, myself, and I for
Yep.
quite some time. I do have another financial coach on staff.
Wow.
So she is building her own book of business. She has actually found herself very much in the beauty industry. So
Mm.
working with a lot of entrepreneurs that work in that space, which is really cool. She's also bilingual with
Wow.
English and Spanish, whereas I'm English and American Sign Language. So it's
Yeah.
not, it's not,
Hey, that's still
not
cool.
as helpful. But yeah, I mean, part of being a business owner is you make decisions and you see what works and what doesn't work. I did
Yep.
have a few other people previously, and it wasn't the right fit for many reasons,
Hmm.
right? You learn along the way. But yeah, I'm still looking to continue to grow and scale. And
Yeah.
those are baby steps I get to take in the next few months.
Awesome. That's so good. And yeah, I mean, baby steps. I do believe you do have a baby on the way. How's that
I do.
come into play when it comes to business plan and looking forward
Oh
to the
my
future?
goodness. So cons, we'll start with the cons
Yeah.
because then we can end on a positive note.
Right.
Um, I often forget that I'm pregnant.
Oh, wow.
So my energy will quickly deplete
Yeah.
and I'm like, why can't I just complete what I normally do in any
Yeah.
given day? So I find myself working fewer hours during the day or
Hmm.
taking time for a nap in the
Mm.
middle of the day when I
Yep.
find myself most tired. But the pros of that is being self-employed, I get to work
Yeah.
my schedule around my body.
Hmm.
I've also found that, you know, business hasn't really slowed down as a
Mm.
result.
Yep.
I get to be more efficient with the time that I am working, which is really cool. I get to make better strategic decisions that align with my business even
Hmm.
more. So energy is definitely slowing down,
Yeah.
but on the positive side, I get to rework my business. I get to take time off as much as I want to. I get to work from home with my
Right.
little nugget when they come. So lots of benefits with that.
Yeah, that is exciting, and yeah, that's part of life, I guess.
Mhm.
I'm interested as to what it looks like to work with Mills and now your team. Like, how do you go about getting your clients? How do they find you? Is it a lot of the social media prospecting, or is it word of mouth? What works best in terms of getting referrals and landing people?
Sure. So I do a lot of networking,
Hmm.
a lot of
Yeah.
networking.
Yeah.
I'm part of quite a few really amazing groups.
Hmm.
And because I seek out entrepreneurs as my targeted demographic mostly, that's normally where they're at too.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
in the same room, which is
Yeah.
really cool. So most come from those rooms. I would say second is a lot of individuals will be referred by previous clients, which is also really cool. I've gotten to that point where I'm getting that word of mouth referral. And then lastly, I do get some from social media or my email blasts, things like that.
Yep.
But when dealing with money, people got to really know, like, and trust you.
Yes.
So I get most of my people from more of the conversations and interactions rather than social media posts. Those are just an introductory opportunity for them to get to see who I am and learn a little bit about my personality before they schedule that phone call. And then, I'm sorry, what was your follow-up question? Was it, who do I work with, or what do my programs look like?
Yeah. What's it look like?
Sure.
Yeah.
So my main program is called Master Your Money, and it's a 90-day coaching program where we work with our clients one-on-one. It comes with a 6-chapter online course, which actually supplements our 6 one-on-one coaching sessions.
Okay.
And during those 90 days or 12 weeks, we show them how to create a financial plan, both business and personal, what that translates to in their business in terms of widgets or clients, and then how to strategically get there. So we help them hone in and focus on their craft, so that way they're making the money they want to be making, and then we automate all of it on the back end.
Wow.
So we implement systems and processes so that way it's out of sight, out of mind. They have a little bit more clarity and they can just move on with their life. Once somebody has finished with that program, they do a couple different things. They can use us and lose us, which is fine.
Right.
That's okay. They can step into our done for you services. So we act as outsourced CFOs, where we actually manage some of that cash flow for them. They use us as a sounding wall to, ask questions on, should I get this loan or this one? Right. And then the last program that they could potentially go into is our Money and Business Mastermind, which is a year-long program where they get to network with other clients that have gone through our system. Comes with a retreat, guest speakers, book club. I mean, it talks about all things money and business, which is really fun.
Wow, that's so cool. And you've been doing this for how long?
I formally started November of 2019.
Wow.
And I say formally because I was working with a lot of people beforehand. I didn't see the business vision until that time.
Wow, that's incredible. Good for you. I mean, it's cool to
Thanks.
see things and listen to how it came together and to see the end result. And obviously not the end result by any means, but it's
where it is now and how far it's come. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Crazy.
What would you say has been the biggest help in like those troubling times where it's like the wheels are churning, but you're not really seeing any of the results?
That's a really good question. Number one, I would say you're going to have those moments even when you feel like you've made it. In all honesty, I'm actually living in one of those moments right now.
Wow.
It kind of comes and it bites you in the butt. Call it imposter syndrome, call it getting in a funk, whatever you want. You're going to have those moments. So knowing that you're going to have them regardless of where you stand in your business or personal finances allows you to say to yourself, this is just a temporary feeling. It may or may not actually have merit, which is what I've been saying to myself all week.
Wow.
This week, right? If pregnancy hormones wanted to make the decision on Monday, I would have changed my name, moved states, closed down everything, just started all over. Right. But I've sat with it, and it's sometimes you just get in your head.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And then the other thing I would say, which is equally, if not more important than just talking yourself off the ledge, is having a great support system around you. And that might not always be family, right? It might not always be friends. For me, I am lucky enough to where my biggest supporter is my husband.
Amen.
He's my number one fan. I'm obsessed with him. But everybody else that I have as support are people that I've actually networked with. They've been business coaches I've hired, friends that are, amazing entrepreneurs who can lend me wisdom and advice during difficult times. So, realize that it's going to happen. It's always going to happen. It's okay. Get out of your own way, get out of your own head, but have a strong support system to help guide you through that as well.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it. And yeah, I think they say you're the product of the 5 people that you hang around, and just having
Preach.
people around you that are willing to support you and go the extra mile is so important and encouraging. So that's
It
awesome. And thank you
is.
for being so open about that. Cause yeah, sometimes we can
Yeah.
just think it's all fun and games, but yeah.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not all fun and
Right.
games. And if anybody ever wants to see the behind the scenes on Instagram, I'm pretty open about it on my
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah, please do go check out Mill's Instagram. Like I said, when I was preparing for this, I was scrolling through it, and it is good stuff that you put out there,
Thank
funny,
you.
and some humor, and tips too. And
I
it's
try.
all very open too. Like you're open about your financial situation and what's going
Mhm.
on, which I think probably helps with that know, like, and trust factor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, Mills, I don't have too much more. I do have a last question that I ask all the guests here at the Know Your Numbers podcast. But for people who want to get in touch with you and
Mhm.
follow along, maybe even work with you, what is the best way to do so? And yeah, how can they
Sure.
reach out?
Yeah. So if you want to connect with me directly, you can email me, mills@millsknowsbills.com. If you just want to check out what I do online, you can find me on your favorite social platform at
Mhm.
millsknowsbills.com. And lastly, the website, if you want to see any of our content, download our free budget setting tool, millsknowsbills.com.
That's awesome. And wait, actually, that's a great question. Is how did that name come about? Was that something that just came to you off the spot, or?
So my given name is Amelia,
Okay.
but very few people actually call me
Wow.
Amelia.
Yeah.
My family's been calling me Mills for 15 years now,
Wow.
give or take.
Yeah.
And it just kind of stuck. I was sitting down with somebody not recently. I was sitting down with somebody as I was starting Mills Knows Bills, and I was trying to think of a fun YouTube channel name because that's actually how I got started. And the person I was talking to, he's big on YouTube and podcasts. He's like, Mills Knows Bills. And
Right.
then I ran it by my brother-in-law, and he's like, yeah, I like
Yeah.
that too. You're
Wow.
kind of knowing everything. So it started out as a joke, but it
Yeah.
stuck.
Wow.
So we ran with it.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, I think it's perfect and it fits. So might as well let it ship too. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Good for
Thank you.
you. Well, Mills, one last question that we ask all our Know Your Numbers guests here
Mhm.
is, Mills Bender, what is one truth about money that most people regard as myth?
There's one truth about money that they regard as myth.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of this backwards. Hold on. Baby brain.
Yeah.
What is one truth that people regard as myth? Okay. I was just talking about this with somebody, and I don't know if it 100% aligns with your question, but we're going to go with
It
it
does.
anyway.
Yeah.
um, there are a lot of people out there, and I guess it's a common misconception that
Mhm.
those who make over 6 figures have all of their money together,
Right.
and they don't.
Wow.
There's some statistic out there that's like 70 something percent of those that earn 100K or more a year actually live paycheck to
That is
paycheck.
crazy.
So
Yeah.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you're in that bucket, if you are a high earner, not rich yet, aka
Yep.
a Henry,
Right. We didn't
you
even
have
get to
the
talk about
potential.
that. High earner, not rich yet. Henry,
Yeah,
Henri. Did you come up with that yourself?
absolutely not. I
Okay.
can't
All
take
right.
credit for that.
Yeah. All right.
I wish I could, but I'm
Yeah.
not that smart.
That's good. Awesome.
But yeah, that's a kicker that gets
Yeah.
me every time.
Yeah, that is good. And yes, if that is you, reach out to Mills on all things social. Check out her website, millsknowsbills.com, and sign up for her 90-day course. I'm sure you could get a lot out of it and find your financial situation get turned right side up. So Mills, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time. We're wishing you the best in this new adventure and everything else to come with it. So
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
awesome.